To Uganda now. The death toll from a landslide there has climbed to at least 15 people. Scores remain missing, though, after flooding and a landslide in Bundibuyo district on Tuesday morning. Now, according to authorities, 50 people are currently undergoing treatment at a local hospital. The slides come amid prolonged heavy rains that started on Monday night. Bridges were washed away and some 200 homes destroyed in heavy rains that have cut off access to various areas. Now, until recently, East Africa was grappling with drought conditions, but now it's suffering the flip side of El Nino, one of the deadliest rainy seasons in years. Soni Methu takes us through the major incidents so far.
Well, thank you, Lindy. Indeed, rains continue to wreak havoc in East Africa. Starting here in Kenya, the Red Cross estimates at least 100 people have died in recent months thanks to heavy rains. The single worst incident was in Nairobi, Huruma, where a 6-story building collapsed 12 days ago, killing at least 51 people. Officials there have now called off the rescue and some people are still missing. And in Uganda, 15 people have been killed in a landslide in Bukonzo in the west. Hundreds others have been displaced and authorities fear the death toll could climb. And as we had in that park there in Rwanda, authorities want to start moving people from high-risk areas. At least 50 people died there in recent days. Some drowned and some died in buildings that collapsed. The far north has been the worst hit. And now in Ethiopia, in the past 2 days, at least 50 people have died. Tens of thousands have been affected by rains there as well. We are hearing that there are reports of widespread damage to crops, roads and power lines. So we are likely to feel the effect long after the rains subside. Back to you.
Of course, a rather frightening loss of lives due to bad weather across East Africa. Let's bring you some perspective on this. I'm now joined by Sheila Chemcho, who is the Senior Disaster Management Officer at the International Federation of the Red Cross. Sheila, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
As we've just seen there, it is a rather frightening loss of lives in countries like Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda. I imagine that the Red Cross at the moment is quite overstretched in trying to assist people in these affected areas.
Yes, and that is true. Since the alerts for El Nino were issued the late last year, the Red Cross has been preparing for the El Nino since the beginning. So we've had meetings, we've had to use the information from the meteorological departments, other partners like the IGAD, the FuseNet. And from there, we had to work with the partner national societies within the East Africa. By partner national societies, I mean the Burundi Red Cross, Rwanda Red Cross, Uganda Red Cross, Kenya Red Cross, and Tanzania Red Cross. So based on the information we got from the Met services, we are able to simplify it, to tailor it to different national societies, whereby they experience various seasons as well for the floods. So we've been prepared for this since the beginning, and our national societies have as well put in preparedness measures to be able to cope with this rain. As much as it came, some came earlier, some are coming much later. For like Rwanda, we are seeing it's later. Uganda, we are seeing it's later. But Kenya and Tanzania are the ones who experienced the rains from the beginning.
And despite the level of preparedness of organizations like the Red Cross, I imagine with the fact that the rains are just continuing, that you have to work in quite difficult conditions, that just, the fact that the rain is continuing must be one of a number of challenges that gets in the way of you providing the kind of support you're looking to provide.
Yes, we have one of the biggest challenges we are facing is the logistics movement of the relief items. We also have communication issues whereby some of these disasters happen in very remote areas whereby network is still an issue. But with the availability of our volunteers, the Red Cross volunteers, there's some way there's a connection with the branch at the national level where the information is able to get it, but it might not get it to the time that we wish to get the information.
And of course, when you talk about preparedness, you say that the Red Cross has been looking at this for about a year leading up to this El Nino season. But are governments, are city planners prepared enough? One has to wonder what it is that needs to happen in order to prevent the loss of lives that we've seen over the past few weeks.
The Red Cross works with the government very closely. And we work with the government in such a way, some of these responses we have requested by the government to respond. So we have to work with the government, we work with other agencies as well to respond to this. And we also have long-term programming that are linking to disaster risk reduction, early warning systems. So all those help to reduce the hazards that people face during this crisis.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, but thanks very much for your input. Sheila Chemshaw from the International Federation of the Red Cross.